All right, we're live on YouTube. Look at that. That was easy. So hey, anyone and everyone who's watching this recording. My name is Brian. I work in the Khalil Lurie College of Education at San Jose State University, and you are watching Emancipatory Education Now, which is a student-led initiative here in our college that focuses on really just unpacking all the different things about education, policies, practices, research, et cetera, and really examining which of those things are done through an emancipatory lens, which are not. And our students here are going to dive into those topics a little bit deeper and then really advocate for emancipatory practices, policies, research, et cetera. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of this initiative and what it's all about. And what we want to do today is just introduce all of you to our student co-hosts so you can learn a little bit more about them through their name stories and then get a preview of some of the topics that they're planning to discuss over the course of the semester. So I'll turn it over to you all. Abby, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Almorito. I am a graduate student in the Emancipatory School Leadership Program, and so excited to be with you today and the semester. So my name is Abby, and it is short for Abigail. A funny story with that is my mom in, I believe high school or college, I don't remember, she had a group of friends and they really loved the name Abigail. And so they made this pact, as young women are apt to do, and said when they have children, if the first child is born a girl, then they would name her Abigail. So I have no idea how many of Abigails there are in the world because of that pact, but I'm one of them. What I really love about my name, though, is that my mom was very intentional about how to spell it. So the traditional way is with an AIL at the end. Instead of having those 3 letters at the end, she decided to combine the first few letters of my last name, which is Almorito, and then her maiden name, which is Ichalico. So I will never find a pencil with my name on it because it is spelled Abigale. So thank you for listening to my story today.
Hi, I just want to say, Abby, I really liked the story about how your mom spelled your name. I think it's really cool how she included like every part of it, and it kind of has a bit of representation of everything. So I really like that. I'm gonna go next. So hi everyone, my name is Aminah, and my full name is Aminah Fatima Sheikh. So my name story is my first 2 names, my first and middle, are both Arabic names. So in Arabic, Aminah means honesty, and then in Arabic, Fatima means faith. So my mom really liked how those 2 paired together, honesty and faith, and she thought those were like 2 good reminders to have in my name. And when I was younger, I never really liked my name because in school no one could say it, and it was never like a common name, like like in the stores or anything. You could never find anything with my name on it. So I always wish I had like an easier name. But now that I'm older and I know so much more about like my culture and like how everyone in my family really likes like the meaning of my name, and I really like appreciate it a lot more. And I'm like really proud that like it represents a lot of my religion and my like culture in it. My name story. Thank you.
Thank you, Aminah. I really liked how you mentioned, that you grew to appreciate your name over time. I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, who were maybe born with a more unusual name, and then they find as they grow older that they really like it and they can really see themselves in that name. That was really beautiful. I'm going to go next. My name is Anna. My first name is actually Anna Isabel. Anna Isabel is a very common name in Portugal, and my mother is from Portugal, so it was very important to her that she give me a Portuguese name. Anna, I'm also named after my aunt, who is named Anna, and Isabel happens to be my mom's second name. So, my first name is really just about celebrating my mom's Portuguese heritage, and just reminding me, of the family that I have in Portugal. And so I really like my name for that reason. So I really make a big effort to always put, Anna Isabel as my first name on all my legal documents and things like that, just to kind of remind myself of, the Portuguese side of me that I don't get to see that often living here in America.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Anna. Also, I think it's really great how you want to carry a part of your culture and a part of your parents' background, because I feel the same way. I really like the fact that my name is traditionally Indian, just so that I feel like I am connected to them. So, hi everyone, my name is Vaishnavi, and my name story is basically that my grandma actually named me. So, my grandparents are really religious. They go on pilgrimages and all that sort of stuff. So they really helped my parents find a name as soon as they found out that they were gonna have a girl. And basically my name means like devotee, and it's specifically a devotee of one of our deities in the Hindu religion. So personally, like I really had to grow into my name because I wanted it to be like an easy name like Sarah. But when I was younger, I really didn't understand, like why my name was so long and people would have a really hard time pronouncing it. But now I really understand the importance of my name. So I do go by nicknames now, sometimes like Vi, just because I don't want people to feel uncomfortable when they say my name or feel like they're offending me if they say it wrong. But yeah, just like Aminah said, and just like uh, Abby said, like, I feel like now that we have grown into our names, we truly understand how unique it is. So yeah, that's my name story.
Hi. Thank you for sharing your name story. I really appreciate that. I really like the fact that you pay homage to your cultural roots, and I really think that's important as well. Um, my name is Victor Khalil Chavez. Um, Victor commonly go short for victory, victorious. So someone who wins or overcomes obstacles. I believe that as um as I've developed as a person, I've kind of grown into that name. I feel that I've overcome a lot of obstacles as well, and I feel that kind of is suiting in a little bit. Khalil Chavez. Well, I usually don't call myself. Well, I started calling myself Khalil Chavez because I want to pay homage to my mom as well. So that's why I have the Chavez at the end as well. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Oh, that's really beautiful and a great way to keep your family members alive and your identity with her as well. Thanks everyone for sharing your name stories. We look forward to sharing more of ourselves throughout this season. But we'd love to share some of our ideas of what we would like to speak with you about in each of the episodes. So Victor, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Abby. Yeah, so hopefully next web series or next episode, we will be talking about let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. We'll be talking about decolonization and education. What does that mean? What does that look like? How can we explain it? We'll go into that as well. We will be referring to this article right here, Decolonization and Education, Locating Pedagogy and Self at the Intersects in Global Times. Introduction. I'm going to read the introduction for the structure of the dialogue that's going to be happening next web series. Events throughout global society have reinforced movements centered on liberation from traditional ways of governing. As agents in education, we must be critical in reflecting on education's role in reproducing the status quo. What constitutes as appropriate or worthy knowledge to be taught in Western education is rooted in colonial ties. A narrative is propelled in Western culture's insiders, centered around civilizing ethnic and minority populations, outsiders, as a noble act. In reality, This attempt to civilize is seen and experienced by the outside population as forced assimilation and cultural diluting. Colonization is embedded in education. We must play a collaborative role to disentangle the effects of colonization in education and the chains it has placed on our minds. This is the questions that we'll be talking to. I also encourage my co-host to please bring in your own research as well. You don't just have to stick to this article. Since we are all in different areas as well, we will. I would like to invite everyone to bring in their perspective as well. Bring some stories, bring some examples of ways we've seen colonization with inside education as well. Just some questions. What's your initial reaction towards the reading? Do you have any examples or questions that came to mind after the article?
Hey, Victor, I don't think we can hear you anymore. Or is that just me? No.
I can't hear him either.
Oh, Victor, you want to look at your microphone settings maybe?
Okay.
Oh, it sounds like we can hear you now. You're all good.
You're back?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What part did you leave me off of? What part did
I think after the first question, maybe if we could discuss from the second question onwards again.
Yeah, no problem. So how would you describe the topic of decolonization to a student? I believe that if it can't be explained in simple terms, the concept of decolonization, then it's not very revolutionary, you can say. So it's not very yeah, that's a good term. So yeah, so how can we explain it to someone who's just getting on this topic, on this concept? Does colonization serve a purpose in education, or is it contradictory to the institution? How would efforts to decolonize education look like? What are the limitations placed on our minds due to colonization? Can education be a tool used in decolonizing one's mind? How? And then after this, I would like to invite us to try this exercise and this call to action of learning to be more mindful in the way we interact with individuals. And if y'all would like, we can also have a mindful meditation after.
Well, that's going to be an amazing introduction to our topic, because I think your topic will overlap with a lot of what we're all learning in our programs, but also the things that we want to talk about in the episodes that we're going to facilitate. Like my major idea is examining the books and the media that we ask our students to consume, and then we as educators consume, that allow us to be seen and our students to be seen. So that's definitely part of decolonizing the curriculum of education as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said, Abby, and also with what you said, Victor. I'm very excited for our session in 2 weeks. And, like Abby said, I think that it will be a great introduction for what all of our other topics will be, because I'm sure they can all relate to that in some way. For me, I was going to talk about the changes made to the AP World History test, of sort of using one example of how, what we teach kids in the classroom matters. For the AP World History test a couple years ago, they decided to change it, and to basically, they would only teach history now from 4000 BC onward. Everything before that, they were like, we're not going to teach this because we don't have time to teach this in the classroom. But the problem with that is that means that a lot of what is taught is going to be, primarily European history. The AP World History test was one of the few times where kids were studying history that was not solely focused on Europe. That was happening to other cultures, and at a time when other cultures were really thriving. And so to cut out that stuff for the sake of time, what it's really doing is it's limiting the kind of education that kids are getting, and it's focusing on, the colonizers' narrative. There's already an AP European history test. We don't need to focus on that. We need to focus on the other things. So, and that's, a symptom of a larger problem, which is the fact that we are, we need to work on what kinds of things we focus on in history classes, in literature classes, what kinds of cultures we bring in, the way we present those cultures. And, the AP test is just one piece of that scale.
Yeah, I definitely agree with with what Anna said. I think Victor's topic is gonna lead into a bunch of smaller topics, and I'm really looking forward to reading the article, and the questions that you have listed out look really interesting. I think they're gonna be great conversation starters as well. And similar to what Anna said, my topic is going into standardized testing, and that's only a small part of education system that plays an issue and doesn't serve students of color. So I really think that this is going to be a great topic to start off with.
Okay, sorry, you might hear a ringtone in the background. So basically I do agree with Victor and Abby, Anna, Aminah. Thank you for, pointing out those valid points. As Victor said, there are going to be students that probably do not really know what colonization is. And for me personally, I haven't really heard about, I've heard about it, but I haven't really gone deeper into colonization in education. So I think I might have to research on that a little bit before our next session. But it's really cool that I'll be able to, hear your guys' thoughts on that as well. And for me personally, I am really interested in talking to all of you about, disadvantaged students in our education system, because I personally have seen some students that have been in the poverty side, and they really didn't have access to being able to pay for AP testing and being able to pay for SATs, because those things do cost a lot of money. And especially with College Board, that's a huge complaint among students about how College Board is. Are they taking money because they want to support students, or is it just because it's a monopoly? So yeah, it would be really cool to discuss with all of you about, what resources are available to low-income students and what resources aren't.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much to all of you for sharing your name stories, again, with one another. I know we did it as a group last week, but sharing them with everyone who's viewing so they can all get to learn a little bit about you all and kind of, what's really salient for you and your connections to, just different dimensions of your identity, whether it was thinking about relationships with your family members or culture, history, all those sorts of things. And then transitioning to talking about the different topics that you plan to dive into a little bit deeper. It sounds like there's already a lot of connections happening between the topics, which makes sense, right? There's going to be those intersections taking place. And I think that's where we want to live, is kind of at those intersections and really getting into the nuances of all of it. I found it interesting too, just, as the person behind the curtain, I guess, as you all were talking, the connection between, we talked about the 4 eyes of oppression model as we were preparing for this conversation, and thinking about how these things that start out as ideas, right? Thinking about whether it's colonization or just thinking that one person or one group is better than another group, or, superior, or, those sorts of things, how these different ideas start to get translated into things that become institutionalized, right? Whether we're talking about policies or testing or curriculum or requirements or all these things. And then that starts to, spill over into the interactions that people have or the relationships that people have within education. And then the internalized component of it about how people feel about themselves as they go through their educational experiences. So really looking forward to just hearing more about what you all have to say as we go through this experience together over the course of the semester. And I'm sure everyone who's watching these will be excited to hear about it as well. And hopefully it'll just stimulate more conversation and dialogue beyond just our group here, whether it's with your classmates or your peers or our faculty, anyone across the university or around the world who's watching this on YouTube. So really looking forward to it. So I think that's all we're going to do for tonight. We're going to keep it pretty tight. Just wanted everyone to get to know our group here. And I think that's it. So we'll see you on a couple of weeks. Thanks, everyone.